If I were the devil, a warning to America or pretty much the West now from Paul Harvey. If I were the devil, if I were the prince of darkness, I want to engulf the whole world in darkness. And I'd have a third of its real estate and four-fifths of its population. But I wouldn't be happy until I seized the ripest apple on the tree, thee. So I'd set about, however necessary, to take over the United States or even the West. I'd subvert the churches first. I begin with a campaign of whispers. With the wisdom of a serpent, I would whisper to you as I whispered to Eve, do as you please. To the young, I would whisper that the Bible is just a myth. I would convince them that the man created God instead of the other way around. I would confide that what's bad is now good and what's good is square. And the old I would teach to pray after me, our Father which art in Washington or in Canberra. And then I get organized. I'd educate authors in how to make lurid literature exciting so that anything else would appear dull and uninteresting. I threatened TV with dirtier movies and vice versa. I'd peddle narcotics to whom I could. I'd sell alcohol to ladies and gentlemen of distinction. I'd tranquilize the rest with pills. If I were the devil, I'd soon have families at war with themselves, churches at war with themselves, and nations at war with themselves, until each in its turn was consumed. And with promises of higher ratings, I'd have mesmerizing media fanning the flames. If I were the devil, I would encourage schools to refine young intellects, but neglect to discipline emotions. Just let those run wild until before you knew it, you'd have to have drug-sniffing dogs and metal detectors at every schoolhouse door. Within a decade, I'd have prisons overflowing. I'd have judges promoting pornography. Soon I could evict God from the courthouse and then from the schoolhouse and then from the houses of Congress. And in his own churches, I would substitute psychology for religion and defy science. I would lure priests and pastors into misusing boys and girls and church money. If I were the devil, I'd make the symbols of Easter an egg and the symbol of Christmas a bottle. If I were the devil, I'd take from those who have and give to those who want until I had killed the incentive of the ambition. And what do you bet I could get whole states to promote gambling as a way of getting rich? I would caution against extremes in hard work, in patriotism, in moral conduct. I would convince the young that marriage is old-fashioned, that swinging is more fun, that what you see on the TV is the way to be, and thus I could undress you in public. I could lure you into bed with diseases for which there is no cure. In other words, if I were the devil, I just keep doing what he's doing right now. The reason why I read that out to you all, it's quite famous. Many people actually know the short little plea from Paul Harvey, if I were the devil. It was even read out, I believe, on Joe Rogan, but it rings true to this day, in this day and age, in this culture. But if I were the devil, imagine what would happen. Keep doing the things that you're doing today. Keep watching the West bow down and pander to idiotic, dumbfounded ideas and ideologies and even religions. And that's where I come to the religion of Islam. I titled this video, "The Devil is Islam," for a specific reason. I have not seen any other religion quite like the religion of Islam. The religion of Islam is one that is quite evil. If you haven't seen any of the media headlines, they try and paint the religion of Islam as peaceful. They try and appeal to a certain particular narrative, one that makes Islam out to be the good, whereas Christians are seen as bad. If a Muslim is attacked, the government is quick to act. But if a Jew or a Christian is attacked, the government is very, very slow. Sure, they're happy to condemn, but they're not happy to actually do anything about it and to stop it from occurring. The police are too afraid to do anything. So if I were the devil, I would use fear to my advantage, wouldn't I, in the shape of a religion, one that's not found in love and real peace and giving like Christ taught each and every one of us to do. No, if I were the devil, I would disguise myself and make it sound as if that I am the peaceful one, I am the right one. I would use language to subvert everything that has been considered good. I will change that to evil. Sound familiar? We're seeing countless things happen in our world today that I look at, and a vast majority of it is happening from someone that claims to be a Muslim. So if I was the devil, yeah, I would be more than happy to reshape society in my own image, but in a way that makes everybody else afraid. And then I would create a term known as Islamophobia, which means absolutely nothing. I would have politicians bend to my every whim and my every want, because for them, it's all about numbers. It's all about keeping a job. I wouldn't care too much about my fellow members of society at all. No. I would only care about myself, and I would only care about the votes of the Muslim population, because that keeps me in a job. If I were the devil, that's exactly what I would do. The devil can't create anything. He can only twist what has already been created. What has already been created is from man, let's say, a particular religion that is bent not or created not in love, not in peace, not in joy, but one in actual death. They see you and I as evil. They see you and I as infidels. Someone commented, Jay, don't get stuck on Islam. You're an infidel. I know. I'm not getting stuck on Islam. I'm trying to warn people about Islam. I'm seeing events unfold in our world today, and it's quite becoming. And that's what I mean. If I was a devil, I would act sly. I would lie. I would put myself in positions of power in government in Australia so that I could control. I could control who I wanted to control. And if anyone dared speak out against me, I will just silence them and I will say it's Islamophobia. I will use that term that has no meaning whatsoever, except I will create this fear that all politicians can't keep their job unless they bow down to what we say. And the West will then fall. It's a utopia only for one group that has come here. They've not come here to assimilate. They've come here to take over. They've even admitted that they want to take over. They want a particular law in our country. They have taken over in having babies. So if I was a devil, I would convince the young, the Gen Zers, that having a family is wrong. I would uproot the church and I would replace it with something else entirely. You're seeing Christians fall away, being led astray. time and time again. But you see the Muslims, they're faithful more than ever before. And what does that tell you? You have countless influencers online that are talking about the religion of Islam. They're indoctrinating young kids, impressionable, vulnerable minds who believe and they hate Christianity. They think that Christianity is the problem to everything and somehow Islam is a solution. Apparently, the Prophet Muhammad that took a young child as his wife is apparently the solution to the world's problems. And a man named Jesus that lived a sinless life and taught us good and how to do good, how to live a good life. No, he's the evil one. So if I was a devil, I would make my religion, I would claim it to be something that it's actually not. And I'll call it something else. I'll call it Islam, which is basically, I believe, meaning submission. Who are they submitting to? You may be wondering. They're submitting to the devil, the one that deceives, the one that only wants to destroy what God has created. And you know who he uses to do that? Us. I don't know if you've noticed, but Islam has been around for centuries and they're quite violent. There's no radical Islam. There is just Islam. And there are people within Islam that do take it to the nth degree. They do take it to the most extreme. And you know where that comes from? It comes from the devil whispering into their ears, you must destroy. And then you have the others that will say, no, 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 we must be peaceful. We condemn what these small little faction groups are coming out and calling themselves Muslims. We condemn them, but we won't do anything about it. We won't turn on them. We're more than happy to stand there and condemn, and that's about it. So if I was the devil, it's exactly what I would do. The devil is always in the details, is it not? He's always looking for a way to win. But good news is, ladies and gentlemen, he's not going to win. He's a defeated enemy already. The moment Christ died on the cross, he beat sin. Death has died. Love has won. Hallelujah. And so we don't need to fear Satan. We don't need to fear the devil. We don't need to fear Islam at all. Some people may have a rational fear, and that is totally acceptable and totally understandable because it is a scary religion. It's a death cult. They're all about death. And if I was a devil, I would make people afraid because that beats people into submission. There's nothing like fear that motivates people. We saw it all throughout COVID, right? All throughout COVID. So yes, if I was the devil, that's exactly how I would get in. That's exactly how I would move people. That's exactly how I would change and try and win. You see people that commit these atrocities and they're smiling and they claim to be God, doing it in God's name, Allah. Allah Akbar, God be praised, as they're taking somebody's life. That does not sound like something from God to me. That sounds like something from the devil. So if I was the devil, I would produce or I would take over the religion that man created called Islam. I would take over it. I would use it to my own means. And I would destroy the West. I would take over the West and I would have the world painted in my own image. What image is that? Have a guess. If I were the devil, I would subjugate women. I won't allow them to live a life of freedom. So yeah, if I was the devil, Islam would be how I would use and change the world, would it not? Let me know in the comment section what you guys think. But you guys take care, you be blessed, and I'll see you all in the next video.